Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to everyone's favorite show about plastic surgery, health, and beauty. This is Nip Talk. We got a good one for you today. First off, the latest plastic surgery trends data is out. What are people in America doing to look good? We're going to tell you. Next, how to avoid that midlife weight gain. There's a new study out that shows how you can do it with simple diet. And finally, we're going to talk about the thread facelift. All that's coming up right now.
Live from Lincoln Center in the heart of the Dallas Metroplex, this is Nip Talk. An honest and uncensored show about plastic surgery, health, beauty, and lifestyle. With your host, plastic surgeon Dr. Bruce Hermann, and your co-host, entrepreneur and social media influencer Sarah Bennett. Now it's time to discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of the topics everyone is talking about. It's time for Nip Talk.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Please hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps us out. I'm your host, plastic surgeon Dr. Bruce Hermann. With me is the wonderful Sarah. How are you today, Sarah?
Hi, I'm good.
Doing good. And Travis, How are you, sir, in the box? Doing good, buddy?
I am good. How about you?
I'm doing great, man. It's Friday. It's been a busy week, but I always love being on the show because it means it's Friday.
It has been
It's
a
a good
bit
time.
busy.
And Sarah, I owe you an apology. Because I remember, you're like, what owe you an apology?
You do.
Yeah, I do. Last week, you told me you wanted to do a segment on the mummies, like how to make mummies, and I totally forgot until I saw you today.
I think it's just because we just got, because of all of the issues that we had the last week, I think we just forgot.
I know, we did. So we are definitely going to do the mummy one, because actually I'm kind of looking forward to that too. I don't know how to make a mummy. I mean, not that I really think I need to know that, but it'd be interesting
The history of
the history of mummification. Yeah. So I didn't do that topic today, so you'll have to
That's
forgive me.
okay. I'll forgive you.
Will you? All right.
I'll allow it.
I also say you're gonna be proud of me. I told you I've been like trying to get back in shape and stuff.
Yeah.
So for the first time, I actually timed myself because I've been running like most of the summer. And let me tell you, as you guys will figure out soon enough. As you get older, it's really hard to get back into working out if you drop off of it. I mean, you work out pretty much all year round, right?
Yeah.
You haven't had any breaks. So sometimes, I don't know, in my younger days I was the same way, but as I've gotten older, occasionally you get busy and then you fall out of it or whatever. And in the past when I've done that, it's been super easy to get back into just feeling like you're in good shape. This time it's been really hard. And I think I started in June, just like running, and of course I sucked really bad at first, but I've been sticking with it, and now I'm running, at least 3 days a week. So last night I timed myself for the first time, and I did 5Ks, so 3.1 miles in right around 27 minutes.
Nice.
Not bad. I mean, it's not great. I've
Better than what I could do. I feel like running is such a hard thing to just know if you're getting better at it or not.
You definitely have to time yourself.
And and then some days you just don't have that type of energy in you.
No, totally.
But I feel like with weightlifting,
you can always do it.
You can definitely see.
Yeah.
It's definitely there. But with running, I've always been horrible at cardio.
Really?
Like endurance.
See, I'm kind of reversed. I've actually got to the point now where I'm feeling good cardio, and I actually am thinking about hitting the weights again.
Yeah, you should.
I know I need to because I'm getting, I'm kind of lanky. I don't know what's the right word. Spindly.
Lanky. Oh no, it might not be the right word, but I get you.
I don't know. I just feel there was a time in my life when I worked out with weights all the time, and I never was big, but at least I didn't look elfish.
Yeah. My mom literally looks at me sometimes. She's like, Sarah, you need to stop working out so much on your
You're very
arms.
muscular. You look good.
Hey, I
wouldn't want to fight
I went to a bank to sign some documents or something, and one of the loan officers or whoever it was, banker person, was like, so what do you do in your free time besides lifting weights? And I was like, nothing actually.
You look very athletic. You look like Linda Hamilton from Terminator 2. Remember her?
No.
Really?
I've never.
God,
I
so
think I
old.
watched Terminator 1.
She's like the stud. I was, back in the 90s, there wasn't as many girls working out, so she was all kind of ripped up for that movie.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's good. It's a compliment.
I'll have to look her up.
Yeah, you have to look her up. So, yeah, I'm gonna try to get back into the weights. I don't know. It's just hard time-wise, I've just kind of got it in my system now where when I get home, I go run.
Yeah.
Before I like get into doing anything at home, I just go out and I run. The thing is, it's like it's still hot, but that doesn't really bother me as much. I don't know. I grew up here, so the heat's just kind of like,
It is what it is. Yeah.
it is what it is. So
Yeah.
I'll keep you posted.
Definitely recommend working out, like doing some weightlifting.
I know. I need to. I know. I just one thing at a time, Sarah.
I'll run.
You're gonna start running?
I'll tell you when I run a mile. I usually try to start running when it's not as hot.
Yeah.
But
I get that running
horrible.
is like, some people just running is not their thing. I get it. So, when people say, oh, I don't run, I'm like,
I sometimes get to the point where like I'm running and I'm like, I think I can walk faster than this.
You're like,
yeah.
all right, very good. Well, I'm interested to hear your, if you start running. I'll let you know when I start working out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll keep you posted. Okay, so as you know, I always like to talk about topics that are kind of new or fresh. And actually, there was a pretty big thing that dropped this last week. So it's about the latest plastic surgery trends. And this one's kind of interesting because it shows what people in the United States are doing to stay youthful, and what procedures are getting more popular, less popular, or are new.
Yeah.
And this is put out by the American Society of Plastic Surgeons. So the American Society of Plastic Surgeons is basically like a group that 92% of all board certified plastic surgeons are a member of. I'm in the 8%.
Oh, no.
Well, it's just kind of like it's almost like, if you go to college and you join a fraternity, right? I mean, you don't have to do that to have a good college experience. And so I just have never really been into the societies and like the pomp and the circumstance and all that. So after I got my board certification, I was like, yeah, I think I'm good. But anyway, so the ASPS is good though. I mean, they do good things. They do a lot for the field of plastic surgery. And one of the things that they do is they keep track of all of the procedures. So they get all their surgeons to submit forms of like what they're doing. And it actually is a very informative data dump that happens, and it takes them several months. So the data that we're looking at is actually the release data for 2022.
Okay.
Because it's not kept in real time right now. That's probably not too far off from happening. But this is all the data from 2022, which they all kind of correlated and put in this big document. So for 2022, there was 26.2 million surgeries and non-surgical treatments for aesthetics done in the United States.
Okay.
Now, that is a 19% increase from 2019. I think they judge it, they don't judge it year to year, they judge it like every 2 years. Yeah. So 2022 versus 2019, a 19% increase. That's pretty big. I mean, that's not insignificant. And so I want to kind of talk about what are people doing, what surgeries are more popular, what things, some of the things that we talk about, how popular are they? Because I was really interested to see things like BBL. How many BBLs are actually getting done?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, I was too. So I want to talk first about the surgeries. So when you talk about surgical procedures in the United States, there was 1.5 million surgeries done for cosmetics in the United States by board certified. Now, I think that doesn't include these people who are kind of doing it in their office and whatnot. So that number's probably actually a little bit low. So, all right, I'm going to ask you guys, and obviously, I don't expect you guys to know this, but just for fun, what do you think the most popular plastic surgery in the United States was, Sarah?
For breast augmentation.
That's a fantastic guess. Travis, do you agree with her, or do you think it's something different?
Nose job.
I mean, that's also a really, really good guess, Travis, because you guys are both wrong. but
Nice.
So historically in the past, like nose job used to be really, really high, and I was shocked that it wasn't in the top this year, and it kind of confused me. But number one this year was actually liposuction. So in the United States, there was 325,000 liposuction procedures done in 2022. That's almost 1,000 per day. That's pretty big numbers.
Yeah.
And that represents a 23% increase from 3 years ago. That's pretty sizable.
Yeah.
And so like with all of these, there's always a little bit of discussion. So why is that the case? And I think COVID, I mean, it's pretty well documented that people were more sedentary during the pandemic. They weren't getting out as much.
People were bored looking at themselves in the mirror being like,
They were bored, like people were eating, they weren't going to the gym. And so I think maybe we're seeing a reflection of that. People maybe gained a little bit more weight than they wanted. And so liposuction actually was the #1 procedure. You were, as I said, is a great guess because breast augmentation is number 2. It's slightly less, so about 300,000 breast augmentations were done in 2022. Now, as far as the percent change, it was only about 4% increase.
Yeah.
So it was an increase, but it was lower. And I wonder if some of that is due to the fact that if people had a little bit more weight gain, there was less people that had less breast tissue. There's the question of the breast implant illness, which is in the news periodically, which, as I've said in the past, I don't think is a reason not to get implants. It's just one of those things that you need to talk about with your surgeon to see if it might be an issue for you.
I think that it's crazy how it's gone up 20% when in the past 2 years, like
What, plastic surgery in general or specific procedure?
Just plastic surgery in general, because that, like, for the past two years or more, like, body positivity has been like
I think what
huge.
people say and what they do are
I
like
know,
two
but it's
different
like
things.
how like clothing companies
I
are like,
know. Yeah.
we
you
have
think
sizes extra small to 4XL or something like
right.
that.
And you see it in
I'm
the news these days, which in the past, of course, in the 90s, like every model in print or
like
on TV
bean
was
poles.
just like wayfish. That's actually pretty funny. But yeah, it seems like what people say and what people do are different. So
Yeah.
number 3, very popular surgery, tummy tucks. That's
Yeah.
always going to be popular because there's just a
People
constant
are
supply of
always
women
going to
having
have
children.
babies.
And then also people who need the massive weight loss. So that was a 37% increase. One of the highest increases of all surgeries was tummy tuck. Number 4 was pretty surprising, was breast lift without implants. So breast lift procedures, 143,000. I do tons of them. They're great surgeries for patients who have breast tissue and they just want a better shape. And you can almost even get like an implant look if you have enough tissue. Great surgeries, I love them. That was a 30% increase. And then 5th was eyelids, so blepharoplasties, 115.
I know a bunch of guys that have done that.
Really?
Yeah.
It's pretty popular. In fact,
I know too.
I did one this morning. So I did a blepharoplasty this morning. And I don't advertise for face stuff. I advertise more for the breast and body because that's like my wheelhouse. But I do face stuff. And so I did a blepharoplasty today and I did one on Monday as well.
Yeah, I know 2 guys that have done it.
Pretty crazy. So I wanted to talk about some other random surgeries because I'm not going to go through the list of 1 through 100 of all the plastic surgeries that are being done. But I wanted to throw in breast reduction surgery. 71,000. That's a pretty big number. Now that's a 54% increase. That's, I think, the biggest gainer of any surgery was breast reduction surgery, which are fantastic surgeries, by the way. If your breasts are really large, you can get that tissue removed and reshape your breast in one shot, and the patient satisfaction rate is off the charts for that.
Yeah.
People love them.
Yeah, we talked about that one time.
Yeah. Brazilian butt lift. All right, guys.
Has it gone up?
How many? Actually, no.
Good.
Yes.
It's because of us.
Maybe. But how many Brazilian butt lifts were done in 2022, Sarah? Now we're talking numbers. So the top ones were 300,000. Breast reduction was 70,000. Brazilian butt lifts, Sarah. How many?
10,000.
Ooh, that's a good guess. Travis, what do you think, buddy? Think more or less than 10,000? Is Sarah high or low?
I will say 50,000.
Ooh, okay. So you went higher.
Yeah.
So it's actually 28,000. So you guys are in between you two guys. I was really curious because you see tons of these on social media. There are people out there like me who are saying these are not a good idea, perhaps reconsider. So I was really curious to see how many are done. What's interesting, Sarah, and you nailed it exactly. You want to know what's the change, and really there was really no change. So they're kind of static, which is kind of a negative connotation because almost all plastic surgery procedures are on the upswing. There's a 20% increase in procedures overall, but Brazilian butt lift stayed static. The last one that I wanted to throw out there procedure-wise was implant removal. There was 37,000 of those done, 12% increase. And I actually do a fair number of that in my practice. I do.
What were they mostly?
Pardon?
What implants were they removing mostly?
So it's people who are perhaps a little bit older, maybe 50s, 60s, that got implants when they were maybe in their 20s, and maybe they got bigger implants, and then as people do, they tend to gain weight, which we're going to do a segment on that shortly, and they suddenly wake up to find that their breasts are just much larger than they want to be, and they'll come in and say, if I take out my implants and do a lift, will I look all right? And a lot of times that answer is yes. And so I do a good number of those. I probably do 1 or 2 of those per month where I'm just taking out someone's implants and then just reshaping the breast and not replacing them.
Okay.
So that'd be different than an implant. The augmentation includes when people change out their implants.
Yeah.
But the implant removal is strictly taking them out and not putting them back.
Well, apparently, like all of the Kardashians that got BBLs.
Oh, BBLs.
They got theirs reversed like a couple of years ago, apparently.
Yeah, which is weird because that's
Because
not necessarily
there's
easy to do.
to me
back
they still look abnormal
yeah.
down there.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I've been against that from the very start. I don't know what to say about it. I do think that it'll be interesting. I assume we'll still be doing the show in a year to go back and see. Okay, for 23, was there a change? Okay, the last thing I want to talk about is the non-invasive procedures. So everything we're talking about obviously was surgery. Said there was 1.5 million surgeries. There was about 24 million non-invasive procedures done in the United States for aesthetics. All right, I know you guys know the number one. It's the obvious one. Come on, you hear about it all the time.
what, fillers or Botox?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
Botox, yeah, Botox. So, and when I say Botox, I include things like Dysport, Zeman, Jeuveau. Those are the off brands. So yeah, almost 9 million people got Botox, increase of 73% from 3 years ago. That's crazy.
I say it every time, but I literally need to call your office.
Dude, come in. I got you, Sarah. You come in anytime. You too, Charles. You want Botox? I'll
yeah,
do the
can we go together?
We'll give you that
Travis?
Brotox, buddy. Not that you need it, but I mean, if you did want it.
So I will go with you, Sarah, for like moral support, but I probably am okay. At this point, I probably am okay.
Fine.
Well, if you change your mind, man, I'll hook you up.
I got you.
Fillers is next. You said fillers, and you're really close. So fillers are, and this is kind of weird, and this is where
I want to know, like, how do fillers get in your face? Like with a syringe?
yeah, needle, inject them in.
And it's like just like a permanent liquid that.
It's not permanent. It's I wouldn't even call it
Semi-permanent,
semi-permanent.
no.
I mean, you could potentially call it semi. It depends on what you mean by semi-permanent. So most fillers, or at least the ones I use, last a little over a year. So it's like, okay, it's obviously not permanent. Would you
But
consider?
it like coagulates, I guess, and like.
So it's
hard,
hyaluronic
like-
acid,
yeah.
which is a compound that our body makes. It's like
Yeah,
found in our joint capsules. And,
I put it on my face. Hyaluronic
okay,
acid.
yeah, right, yeah. So our body makes that. So that's what we use for filler because it stays in the body. It's more or less inert, meaning your body's not going to react to it, and it takes your body a long time to break it down. And there's different thicknesses of it for different areas. So about 5 million fillers were done, which is weird because they separated lip augmentation with fillers from.
Oh yeah, because I was about to ask. I was like, that has to be in your mouth. I mean,
So
your face.
yeah,
and
so
your
the
lips.
lip augmentation fillers was 1.5 million, which is I don't know why they separated that out. I guess because that's just its own thing.
Where is like the other popular place to get fillers on your face?
Okay, that's a great question. So some of those popular places to get fillers are ones for the cheek. So people in my age bracket, as we hit middle age, the mid face starts to fall. And that's where you'll start to get these creases right here, these nasolabial folds. And so by plumping up your cheeks, it will, one, give you that more youthful kind of high cheekbone look that everyone really likes. Like that's actually a really popular one. And also it eases this crease here. You can also inject the filler right into this crease to soften it up.
Okay.
These nasolabial folds. Marionette lines are a big one right here.
Okay.
So those are the three most popular places that people will do fillers outside of the lips. The lips is the other one, and like I said, they separated that one out. And the last one, and Travis, will you throw up that second slide for me, sir? Yeah, so if anybody wants to see the minimally invasive procedure list, this is it. I didn't do the surgery one because it was really convoluted and it was kind of hard to follow. But this one, if for anybody out there that wants to just kind of take a snapshot of it, shows what people are doing as far as the non-invasive treatments. And actually, it's very kind of interesting. Like things like, cool sculpting are still on there, but the numbers are way down. So for example,
What does cool sculpting help with? Is that like for cellulite
for fat
and stuff?
removal, like non-invasive fat removal.
So like you could
Yep.
do it like on your stomach?
Yep,
Or?
yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, we did a segment on it, but I think we did that right before you came, which we may need to revisit that. What was interesting though is 6.2 million laser and skin resurfacing procedures. That's a big number, and I've talked about the laser that we have all the time because I absolutely love our laser, and I was very not surprised to see that the laser is really trending right now. I mean,
Yeah.
there's almost as many laser and skin resurfacing procedures done. Well, there's actually the same number as fillers and almost as many as Botox. Like that's big numbers, and it's a testament to that. Those procedures are actually really good. And
Yeah.
it's weird for me, a plastic surgeon, saying, maybe don't consider surgery. But I mean, I oftentimes when people come into my office, especially if they're more kind of, middle age as opposed to older, will say, maybe forget surgery and go for.
It seems like it's just like a more like natural way to get results, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it is because it's not.
That's something that's
you don't
not
look
like
artificial
super,
with it.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, Sarah, if you have a good plastic surgeon, you should never look artificial. I mean, unless you specifically asked for it.
Yes.
But I know what you're talking about with facelifts. Sometimes people get these facelifts and
and then sometimes like I talk about them all the time. But when I was there, because they had a new episode, the Kardashians, like when they talk, their face does not move.
Yeah, they got lots of fillers going on. I
mean,
it's
their
just
mouth, they have like.
It's like filler overload and Botox overload.
It just looks like they're like a fake
you
person.
don't have
and their
to
mouth
look like that. I
moving.
mean, there's doing nothing, and there's the Kardashians, and then there's this big gulf of in between where you can
I think that's
nice.
what people expect if they get Botox, or
you're so right, because I've had so many people.
They're going to look like that.
I've had so many people come into my office and say something about fillers, and I don't want to get fillers because it makes you look bad. I'm like, no, it really doesn't. If you do it correctly, no one will know that you have them. Like, no one will know you have them. You'll just look younger.
Yeah, I think on one of the episodes, I think Kylie had literally just gotten like her lip refilled,
and
like, she looked like
like someone punched her.
Somebody, like especially from the side when she was like was talking to somebody, and it was like
it
like her lip was just like up here.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
They look pretty frightening for
okay.
a time frame after you get them. Yeah, your lips can definitely swell. So
anyway,
those are the latest trends for plastic surgery. It's really interesting stuff. It tells you what people are out there doing. If you have questions about that list, please leave us a comment. I would love to answer any questions you have about what people are out there doing to make themselves look better. So, okay, moving on to looking good. And this one is mostly for me, although, Sarah, you're over 30, right?
I am, 34.
Travis, are you 30 yet?
31.
Okay. So actually, this is for all of us. I was going to say this is only for me, but this is actually for all of us. This is actually...
Because we're all old here.
Well, I think I'm the only old one. Yeah, you guys are still young, but this is a segment on how to prevent midlife
weight gain.
Yeah, exactly right. So, and that's not me on the screen. I just want to throw that out there. I knew someone was gonna. Is that you?
I was about to say, Dr. Bruce, get your nipples off the screen.
That's a big boy.
I just want to point out that's not me. But this actually is a very interesting topic, and it's something that I talk about in my practice all the time. And the way I actually talk about it most commonly is when we're talking about implant selection and size of implants, because I always tell people, maybe don't go super big with your implants, because the natural tendency is as we get into middle age, as we gain weight. And so I'm always talking about this in my office. And so the first question would be, why do you gain weight when you get older? And there's two very simple reasons why this happens. Number one, after the age of 30, all right?
Metabolism.
This is you guys. Yep, Sarah, you're right. After the age of 30, our metabolism starts to wind down a little bit each year. Now, it's not a huge drastic thing, okay? It's just one of the things that causes to gain weight. The other one, which usually is the bigger component, is it is very, very common for us to become less active.
Right.
We're more active when we're young, and as we age, we slow down a little bit because we get busy with work or kids or whatever, and not everyone is Sarah, who can work out for 2 hours every day, 7 days a week.
Hey, I used to not be like that. I made myself be like that.
I know, Sarah. I'm super proud of you. You do awesome. But
you
have great willpower and great dedication, and us mere mortals do not have that sometimes. And
yes.
We have a tendency to gain weight. Now, the reason that this topic has come up is there was actually a really, really big study. I love big studies because big studies can give you a lot of great information. And this one's a big one. It came out of the British Medical Journal. Throw it up there, Trump, if somebody wants to look it up. That's the study name right there. It just came out this last week.
I always like how study names are so long.
I know. It's like, can't you just abbreviate it? I know. Anyway.
They're always so long.
This study looked at, so the study actually had multiple hundreds of thousands of people in it, but only 136,000 people actually finished it, because the study went for 25 years. So if people didn't continue to turn in their data, then they were dropped out. So it started out with 300,000 or 400,000 people in it, but to get to the very end of the 25 years,
It's a long time.
Only 136,000. Yeah, and that's why this study is so interesting. And the ages of the people they looked at were 25 to 60. I think the average age was like 40s, maybe 50. So, middle age, like our age.
Yeah.
Our age range, of people. And so the first thing that looked at was, okay, well, how much weight do people gain? Well, this is a great way to find out because it has such a large number in it. Because obviously there's people who don't gain weight as they get older, and then there's people who gain huge amounts of weight. So what is the average? So I love quizzing you guys, I don't know why, but over the length of this 25-year study, what was the average weight gain in pounds?
Over 25 years?
Over 25 years.
Yeah, Travis, I'm gonna make you go
20.
first. I always ask. Oh, did you already guess?
I was going to say 25 pounds.
25.
Over 25 years,
Yeah.
I'll say 50.
Ooh, that's a pretty big number. What'd you say?
I said 25.
Yeah, you're pretty close. It was actually 20. Now, you have to keep in mind that there's probably people out there who gain zero weight. So, that means that there are plenty of people, Travis, that did gain 50 pounds.
Sure.
It's just the average was a little bit lower. So, you guys are in the ballpark. And it averaged about 3 pounds every 4 years.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a steady increment of people gaining weight. So then the study went further and looked at, okay, for these people, like this group of people who did gain weight and this people who did not, what was the difference? Because they were recording all kinds of information in there. And one of the things they really looked at is what were the diets of these people? They took a really good log of their diets. And they wanted to see what was the difference between people who maintained their weight and people who gained. So the take-home point of this, and we're going to break it down because when I read this the first time, I was like, what? So the take-home point, that sounded really smart, right? What? The take-home point was that limiting low-quality carbohydrate food sources in favor of high-quality sources help control body weight.
Yeah. Simple versus complex carbs.
So you know about this? Because I was like, what in the world is a
Like a simple
low-quality carbohydrate?
Like a simple
food?
carb is like candy.
Sarah, you're smart.
Complex carb is like eating wheat, grains.
You're basically exactly right. And I was just like, wait, what is low quality? Is that like, it's like
fruit.
I bought it like a gas station versus the grocery store? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
But you're right, it's the type of carb. So I want to break it down, and you're all over this. Low quality carb sources. Okay. Starchy vegetables. So that's
Potatoes.
potatoes, you're right. French fries. People
Gosh,
eat a lot of French
that's literally
fries.
my CrossFit team name always has to do with potatoes. So tater tots, potato, and my last one was hash brown.
So do you eat any potato products?
Rarely.
Yeah.
The only time I eat potatoes is if I go out of my way to eat like a hamburger.
Mm-hmm. 'Cause you have to have French fries.
I'm just like, you know what, I'm eating a hamburger, so
Right.
I might as well eat French fries. Or if I'm eating steak, I love
Like a
having
baked
mashed potatoes
Oh,
or
mashed
something.
potatoes,
Yeah.
So potatoes apparently, I guess it's good for you, maybe, but
Sweet
it's
potatoes
definitely
are
not good if you're trying
Sweet
to.
potatoes are better. If you hike potatoes, you need to eat sweet potatoes.
You definitely want to cut down on potatoes if you're trying to keep your weight the same.
Yes.
Because that is one thing that will make you gain weight. Beans are in there. And
Mm-hmm.
corn. I love refried beans. I love Tex-Mex. I love refried beans, and I really don't eat them as much anymore.
Black beans are better for you.
Are they? Yeah. I think they put like lard in refried beans. Don't they?
Oh yeah, it's
like terrible
has
for
so
you.
much fat in it. It's
I know.
horrible for you.
I love Mexican food. I've changed my whole diet regimen in the past few years. And
I don't know what it is about beans, though. I hate beans.
what?
It's probably
You don't like
because
refried
there's
beans?
It's probably because there's a really cool side effect after you eat them.
It's not even just that. It's like the texture of them, the taste of them. Like the worst bean is like a
lima bean?
No, not a lima bean. It's a
Black
ranch
eyed-
style.
Oh,
Like
Oh, ranch style. Yeah,
those are terrible.
I don't care for ranch style beans either because that kind of barbecue
I
taste.
like barbecue beans.
You do?
Like whenever you have like
I don't care for that.
barbecue and then you have like the beans with like
I don't like those.
the things in them.
I
No.
don't like those.
I like refried beans though, and I like
Do you like pinto beans, black-eyed peas?
yes,
My
and like
mom
beans
used-
in soup, like the ones
Yeah.
they put in like those.
Tortilla soup or something, maybe.
Yeah, there might be
Some
beans.
people will say hate it, but like chili has beans in it.
Yeah,
sometimes,
chili.
yeah.
Yeah, I like those.
Some
Like,
people are
chili's
like
different.
beans don't go in chili.
I like beans. You don't like any beans, Travis?
No,
Zero
not a
beans
bean
for
guy.
Travis.
I
Okay.
could
I know what to buy you for
tolerate-
Christmas.
Like, if your mom makes it for you, you're like not gonna like say no.
I'm gonna buy him
You're not gonna
some.
like it.
right?
I'm buy him some baked beans.
Baked beans.
With a little-
Triple bean soup. Isn't there a
A
triple
little
bean
bow tie on it.
Sounds like a re-gift.
Re-gift, you're coming. Okay, all right. Also, low quality carbs. You said it. Sugar sweet stuff. Added sugar. So energy drinks, candy, sweets, sugar sweet beverages. I know that one. Soda,
Dr. Pepper.
tea.
Yeah, I stopped drinking that.
I'm going to talk about that.
Right whenever I got pregnant, because I knew that it wouldn't be good. Like any of that would be
it's
good.
It's all bad. Yeah.
And then I'm glad I quit doing it, because your metabolism slows down after you have a kid. So like I had already,
sister, that's what we're talking about.
yeah, I had already trained myself. So now like whenever I want like something with caffeine in it, I just drink unsweet tea.
Yeah.
That's all I drink for caffeine. Usually.
The last one of the low quality carb sources is refined grains, which I had to Google that. I was like, what in the world's a refined grain? Sarah, I'm sure you know, so tell me what I'm about to say.
Bleached flour
Yeah,
products.
breads, pastries, rice,
Stuff that's
crackers.
bleached, yeah.
Okay, so those are the ones you want to avoid. So starches, potatoes, breads, pastries, rice, crackers, sodas, energy drink, candy. All right, high quality carb sources, whole grains,
Yeah.
oats,
Yep.
oatmeal, wheat flour, brown rice.
Yep.
Apparently brown rice is okay, but white rice is not.
White rice isn't the best. But see, like whenever I started, like
Sarah,
whenever
you
I
should have done
started
this segment.
eating,
You know everything about this.
whenever I started eating better after I had Avery to like get rid of the extra weight that I had gained, I literally did not eat anything that was white.
Well, I mean, that is actually pretty accurate, like, because flour,
No white bread,
crackers,
no,
yeah.
like nothing that was white in color, I would stay away from it.
Okay,
So if I saw it, I wouldn't.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
good,
I just
'cause
wouldn't
sugar,
buy it.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's the same thing, yeah.
All of it. Pastas.
I like that, that's smart. I'd never thought that way. Fruits are good.
Yes.
That's considered high quality carb. And I love fruit. I'm all
I
about
always
fruit.
have strawberries, grapes.
Oh my gosh.
And
I
apples at
love
my
fruit.
house.
I do love fruit. And then the non-starch vegetables, which I also had to look up. So that's leafy things and sprouty things. So lettuce, Brussels sprouts, spinach. Yeah, those are the good ones
I
for
do
you.
like spinach.
But
You do like
the
spinach?
greener the
Yeah.
lettuce, the better it is. So like iceberg lettuce doesn't really do anything for you except like give you some type of hydration because it's really big in the water department. But like super green
Yeah. it's better.
lettuce, like romaine lettuce or you
Is
know
cilantro, that'd be in
kale.
there, right?
Well, I don't know if kale's a lettuce, but it's kale.
I like kale.
Yeah.
Like kale and bean soup. Yummy. Okay, so what's the take home from this, right? I mean, it's one thing for me to stand up in here and say, you know, oh, just give up low quality carb sources. I mean, that's actually really hard to do, you know, and I personally had to go through this because I guess on the fortunate side, had this great metabolism for many, many years, and I could literally eat anything I want, and I did, and I just ate whatever.
Same.
And I didn't gain any weight. And then about, I guess it was maybe 5 or so years ago, my metabolism started to slow down. I had to really, really change my habits, you know, because I do have total body dysmorphic disorder. I gain any weight, I freak out.
Yep.
My wife will attest to that. And so it's like, so, I mean, what can you do realistically to maybe follow some of this advice? Well, I think probably the low-hanging fruit, and we've talked about this in the past, is to give up sugar, soda, and teas. I used to be a Dr. Pepper fanatic.
Like
I would drink
3 a
Dr. Pepper
day.
like it was going out of style. And now, those zero-calorie drinks, although the first time you drink one, you'll be like, I mean, it kind of tastes like Coke, or it kind of tastes like
Tastes
Dr.
like
Pepper.
it's missing everything that you like.
But nowadays, since I've been drinking those, because I completely gave up all sugar sodas, I only drink zero calorie soda. And now if I drink a regular one, they're like way too sweet. It's almost like syrupy. I'm like, ugh, I don't like it.
Yeah, that's how I feel like whenever I drink like a Dublin Dr. Pepper.
Oh my gosh, I used to drink the crap out of those like real sugar Dr. Peppers. I don't think I could drink one now.
The ones that say imperial sugar on it.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, like 5 years ago, I would do anything for one of those.
Did you know that they used to advertise Dr. Pepper as drinking it warm,
What?
like hot?
Why
Like
would
when my
you do
dad
that?
was a kid, they
Gross.
used to put Dr. Pepper like. He says microwave, but I don't know that he had a microwave when he was a kid. But like they used
Like
to,
on the campfire?
yeah, like they used to drink it like warm, like as like a
tea almost.
That sounds
yeah, like a
awful.
tea or like you're like drinking like hot cocoa.
Yeah.
But I think maybe because it was a different consistency back then, maybe.
That's weird. I did not know that, but I'm going to look it up. 'Cause
Yeah.
Now you taught me something new. So I think giving up sugary drinks is an easy one. Controlling your portions, I've really been good about that. Like every once in a while, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to have tacos, but instead of having 5 tacos, I'm going to have 2 tacos.
So like when you go to a restaurant, that serving that they're giving you is really
It's
meant
like-
for 2 or 3.
Exactly.
So if you just eat half of
Yeah.
what you normally say you go out to eat a lot.
Yeah.
Like if you just eat half of what you normally
It makes a huge
eat,
difference.
it is.
Yeah.
And you just take the rest of it home and eat it the next day or whatever.
And then the final thing I'm going to say,
much better.
which is always easier said than done, is get some sort of exercise, like even walking. Like we did a segment one time about just how walking extra steps can help you maintain your weight. So I think if the take home from this article is there are good and there are bad carbohydrates. If you can cut down on the bad ones and substitute with the good ones, it will help you maintain your weight as you get older. Because trust me, it gets harder if you're in the age bracket where you're still in your 30s. I mean, things are going to change, and you don't want to get caught off guard and suddenly wake up and be.
And
like,
another thing that helps is just having a buddy in crime to do it with you.
That is so true. That is very true.
Not even your significant other, because I don't think I would recommend, because sometimes it can be annoying when it's like constantly like in your face.
But like a gym partner or something?
Yeah, like your gym partner, or maybe like one of
good.
your really good friends to
Yeah.
where y'all can like keep each other accountable.
Yeah. All right. Let us know what you think about that. If you have a cool diet suggestion or ways to lose weight, leave us a comment. I'd love to hear about it. Maybe we'll talk about it in the next episode. So, okay, the final one. Segment of the day. Now, this actually comes from one of our viewers.
Okay.
Name is Beth, who goes by the Instagram handle of Rubbing Buddha's Belly, which I thought that was pretty funny. I like that.
I like that.
Rubbing Buddha's Belly. So she wanted to know about thread
I have a funny
facelifts.
story about Buddha after this.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I can tell you now or later. It doesn't matter.
We'll save it. So she wanted to know about thread facelifts. And I was like, oh, that's actually a really good topic because we've never talked about those. We've talked about almost everything else, but thread facelift is something that we have not. And so I want to educate people about what is a thread facelift. Have you guys heard of this?
You've talked about it before.
Have I? Oh, I thought. Oh, maybe it's like in passing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you? So, Travis, you've heard of the thread facelift?
No, I've not heard of the thread facelift.
Okay. All right. So.
Yeah.
So a regular facelift obviously is where you make cuts and you tighten everything inside and you cut out some of the skin, close everything up, right? So it's surgery, right? There are non-surgical treatments for facelifts. And the one I always talk about is I talk about the halo laser, which I love.
Yeah.
And then the Morpheus 8 is also a very good one. That's a microneedling radiofrequency energy tightening. But another alternative to that is this process called threading. And it is a minimally invasive procedure, which, as we just talked about in the earlier segment, those are completely on the rise. And this is a procedure that takes a barbed thread or suture and places it through the face, and then it has barbs on it. So once you place it into the tissues, it catches, and then you pull it in the direction that you want to tighten the face. And so you have these little needles, and it's got the threads cannulated. I think I have a picture of that. Yeah, there it is right there. So you put that little needle under the skin, and once you get to the ends, you can pull the needle part back, and then you can pull that thread, which when you pull it, as far as you pull it, it catches because it's barbed. It's like a fish hook, but it's like a rope full of fish hooks.
Yeah.
And so when you pull it in the tissue, it catches, and it holds that tightness. And that is the process of threading.
That
and
seems very painful.
I mean, you do have to get some numbing for it.
It's like a micro thing, right?
Minimally invasive.
Well, like
the size of the
thread.
thread. Yeah, they're not big. It's not like a rope. I mean, it's. I would compare it to like sutures. It's probably like a 3/0. I know that means nothing to you. I mean, it's like fishing line.
Okay.
Yeah, about the thickness of fishing line.
Cool.
And also, it has the structure of fishing line because that's a monofilament.
Is it like bendable and stuff?
Right.
Yeah.
But like you know how rope is braided.
Yes.
Okay, and fishing line is smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we call that monofilament versus like a braided. So it is a monofilament. It's PDO, which is actually a suture I use in surgery. PDO is a absorbable suture, but it's a long-lasting absorbable suture.
Okay.
All right. So over time, it does dissolve. It goes away eventually. Your body dissolves.
Interesting.
Well, yeah, it's not permanent. It's not a permanent suture. And here's where some of the downsides come in. The variability of how long that suture stays before it starts to break down. Because once it breaks down and snaps, like it's gone. You know, your effect's gone, right?
What if you had like one side of your face is like?
That's a good question, Sarah. You're very smart. So it lasts 6 months up to the longest, 1.5 to 2 years.
Yeah. How does it like stay tight? Like, is there like some type of like?
Because it's barbed. Like, so you put the suture in.
When they pull it to where they want, there's nothing that makes it like, like stay.
The barbs make it stay.
Okay.
So imagine if you.
So it's like
what's
it
the
just
best-
like locks in place.
Yeah.
Of a
So
situation.
most suture, like I use barb suture when I close like my tummy tucks.
Yeah.
Because what it does is it resists the body pulling it apart. The barbs hold everything together. In this instance, you're running the barbs through a piece of tissue, but you're pulling it, and what happens? It's almost like it purse strings. Like where those barbs are, it catches and it pulls. But then when you let go, it doesn't snap back because the barbs hold it in place. The barbs are what keep it locked in. Yeah. You have to prep the face. You have to numb it. You use the cannulas. You put it in and you pull it. So there's some artistry in this, and you have to know which directions to put it in, which layers of tissue to put it in, how tight you want to pull it, and so there's a bit of user I don't want to say error, but like user technique determines outcome with this very, very commonly. And what's interesting about threading is I don't know I've ever met a plastic surgeon that does threading.
Yeah, immediately I'm like, I feel like I would rather just get fillers or just like more Botox or something.
Yeah.
Or just like an actual facelift.
So I'm going to go over the pros and cons of this. And I don't want people to think that since I don't do this, I'm not automatically going to say it's garbage, because I'm not saying that.
Garbage.
But I'm going to be like very honest about the pros and cons of this. I think that there are good reasons why you don't see this in a plastic surgeon's office, which, I mean, I know I'm a plastic surgeon, so you might think it's biased, but I do think plastic surgeons are far and away the experts on knowing what procedures are going to make you look younger. I mean, we have more training than anyone, and it's basically our whole career.
Yes.
And there's a lot of certification and a lot. So, I mean, I would consider us to be, probably the highest. And the fact that you don't see plastic surgeons do this is a little bit telling. All right, but let's go over the pros and cons, all right? So pros, it's not surgery. It's minimally invasive. We know minimally invasive procedures are on the rise. So right there, that's a good pro. Less cost.
Right.
So the cost for threading, I saw things all over the map. Like the cheapest I saw was maybe like $1,200 up to like $2,000-ish for threading. So yes, it's less than surgery because a facelift is going to cost you, $8,000 to $10,000, depending on if you do the neck as well, which is commonly done together. So it's definitely less than surgery. Another pro is that the suture does tend to cause collagen formation, which means that it does give you a little bit of effect even after the sutures go away. So it's not like 100% dependent on the suture, because the sutures do cause increase in collagen, which we know from every advertisement of all face products is a good thing.
Yeah.
Finally, there's minimum downtime. I mean, I did a facelift on Monday, and I tell my facelift patients, I'm like, look, you're going to swell,
go out in public for a while.
and you're not going to want to leave your house for like a week, and I'm very upfront about that. With this, I mean, it's not, you don't have that huge amount of time where it's obvious that you had something done. So those are the pros, and those are pretty good pros. But as with everything, there are cons. It is a temporary result.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I mean, you could almost say that about anything. I would say that this one is more temporary than others. I mean, if you go do surgery, like you don't have to repeat surgery, all the time. The non-invasive treatments I like, you do repeat, but you don't necessarily have to repeat them because that effect, you still get some of that effect for a good time. The treatments I like, things like Morpheus 8 and laser, actually change your skin quality, where a lot of the effect comes from the suture, which is temporary.
Yeah.
And that suture could go bad in 6 months, and then it's like, what happened to my result? You said one that's big, asymmetry. What if one suture goes, but the other side stays, and then your face is asymmetric? I mean, that is a potential issue. The one that probably is the biggest for me is infection. These are done in an office. I'll do little stuff in my office, but I always preface everything I do in my office, procedure-wise, with this is not as sterile as if you do in surgery.
So what type of provider is doing this?
Dermatologists, estheticians. I mean,
Okay.
I think there's a fair number of people that do it. I'm not sure. That's a great question. I should have looked that up, Sarah. I'll come back to you.
Because if it's not plastic surgeons, then I would think it would be dermatologists. Or
I'm not even sure dermatologists are doing it. I might have to look. That's a great question. It doesn't have to be a doctor. It doesn't have to be a doctor. There are non-doctors doing this, which also makes you a little nervous.
like spa places.
Yeah, I think that there is some threading happening in the spas. Yeah, we're not going to do that at ours. Also, the threads can be visible. You know,
Ooh.
you can see like puckering sometimes with the skin, and also you can get sometimes an artificial look to it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, honestly, the biggest risk and the reason that, because I always, you know, when I think about procedures like this, it's like, would I let my wife do this if she came to me and say, hey, I'm going to go get threading tomorrow? I'd be like, no, absolutely not. Don't do that. Don't do it.
Yeah.
I would worry, the biggest thing is if those things get infected, those threads, it is problematic. Because that means you're going to have to potentially cut them out.
Yuck.
Which could be very, very problematic. And I'm not saying that infection is a huge risk for these, because it's not a huge risk, but it is a risk. Mm-hmm. And if that happens, it is a bad problem. So that's my main beef with it. Like the temporary, short-acting, potential asymmetry is the other. I'm not saying that if you go get one of these that you're insane or anything like that, or that they're terrible. I just don't like them as much.
They're
as
just not the best option, in your opinion.
In my opinion, they're not.
Yeah.
If you don't want to have surgery, which I think is totally fine,
There's
I would lean more towards a laser.
Better things available.
I do like a halo laser or Morpheus.
And
or
they're about
both.
the same price.
They are.
Yeah.
They are about the same price.
And the same.
And you get other benefits too, because things like lasers or Morpheus resurface as well. So you get the skin tightening, but also you get like brighter skin, less pores.
Yeah.
So there's added benefit to that. So
Well,
I'm not
you
high
got
on
me.
the-
I don't like it. It just sounds awful.
I'm not high on the threading as far as like, oh, this is a great thing, and like I'm not going to offer it in my office.
We added another one to the list.
I would. So
BBLs and threading.
if I had to like choose between
don't
getting a
go to Florida.
BBL or threading, I probably would take the threading. I would probably take the threading.
I have a question about the threading.
Okay,
So
great.
like when they dissolve or when they come out, do they like fall out or do they just
They
actually
dissolve. They
Okay,
dissolve.
they
Yeah.
dissolve.
Yeah. So when you get surgery, for almost all surgeries, you're going to have internal sutures. And there's different types of internal sutures. So PDO, which is what these are generally made of, are very, very long lasting. Mm-hmm. I use some PDO or PDS products, which are long lasting. I use some other ones that are short acting, like Vicryl. So those only last like a couple or 3 months. Like these allegedly last longer. It is a little bit variable. Like some people just break them down faster. Right. But it's not like you don't want them extruding. That's bad. That's your body like rejecting them or infection.
All of a sudden, there's just this thread to the surface on your
face. Yeah, that's bad. I mean, that can happen. Like that's a potential side effect.
Sheesh.
So, I mean, you know, as I said, if you know people that have done threading, and it's not that they made some really bad decision. Personally, it's not my go-to.
Sarah, like, no, let's not be kind.
Yeah, Sarah's out on threading. But I do want to thank Beth, who suggested that topic for us.
Great topic.
Yeah, and I hadn't thought about it because it's not something that I do or I think about that often. And she suggested it, and it was great. And I hope she enjoys the segment.
Oh yeah, speaking of Beth.
Rubbing
the
Buddha's
Buddha.
belly. All right, that's the final thing. We got time for Sarah's story.
I saw on some type of Instagram, social media, news thing, and it was this lady who she is a Buddhist.
Okay.
But not a very good one because she had been worshiping a Buddha that was actually Shrek.
Oh, God.
Oh my God. Like her little idol was
Yeah,
Shrek.
her little idol was Shrek.
That is funny.
It was really Shrek.
So what did somebody come over and she's like, this is my Buddha, and that's not Buddha, that's Shrek.
She's probably like, I have no idea what that is.
That's so funny.
Because if you've seen Shrek,
right, it kind of has the shape of Buddha, yeah.
I mean, but if you've seen Shrek, you wouldn't mistake Shrek
Was the Buddha
for
green?
Buddha. Yeah, but a lot of things are green, like the emerald color.
Oh, right,
know?
like it could be like a jade Buddha, or it could be Shrek. Oh my gosh, I'm not gonna look that up. That's funny.
I was just like,
okay.
Do better, people. Do better.
bad bye.
Maybe she was worshiping Shrek and not Buddha.
Maybe she's like, get out of my business.
Yeah, exactly right.
Maybe.
It's a really
All right,
good movie.
everybody. If you have a topic you want us to talk about, just leave us a comment on any of our things. Say, hey, I want to learn about X, Y, and Z. I would love to look it up and talk about it for you on the next episode of Nip Talk. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Please hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you next week.